Shalom, shalom. I am Amir Ryder, revolutionary poet, and I just want to talk to you briefly about what happened after I left Christianity. Alright, so in my last video, I spoke on why I left. But in this one, I just want to give some insight as to what happened after I left, but to fully understand the totality of the ramifications of the experience that occurred after I left Christianity. I'm going to need to provide some details or some insight as to where I was immediately prior to walking away from Christianity. Like I shared before in my last video, I was fully ingrained in ministry. Wasn't the average Christian. I was always involved in some aspect of ministry, right? But I'm going to start this one off 2 years ago, not from today, but 2 years ago from the point where I actually walked away from Christianity. And that takes me to the open mic scene in Metro Atlanta. So I went from one open mic to another open mic. That open mic led to an event, and that event led to another event invite, and it was just becoming a snowball effect where I was gaining momentum along the Metro Atlanta open mic scene, becoming fairly known throughout that community. And with that came along the concept that me and my wife had together, me being a poet, having connections to a lot of different artists, and my wife being a very skilled event planner. We decided to come together and create a Christian event called Utterance. And Utterance was a event for creatives where you would come and it was invite only, but you would come and you would display your gift and your talent, whether it be through singing, songwriting, as a musician, or as a spoken word poet such as myself. And that was a very popular event. It was in 2016, 2017. You can actually check the internet on Instagram or Facebook. I'm sure some photos or video are still online somewhere. Just check out hashtag Utterance 2016 or hashtag Utterance 2017, and I'm sure you can find something about it. But nevertheless, so we created this popular Christian event, and from there we were becoming recognized as this duo who were very talented and able to put together things that the public wanted. And so we created an event called Fusion Open Mic. The Fusion Open Mic, it was a small venue, a little more intimate, but even then, for it to be a new event, it was still pretty popular as well. And so we went from there, from Utterance to Fusion Open Mic, and went from collaborating with, or potentially collaborating with, other creatives who had their own platforms about bringing something even bigger to the Metro Atlanta area that could rival some popular Christian platforms. Nevertheless, it wasn't meant to be. The reason that it wasn't meant to be is because as I was performing in Utterance 2017, I already had knowledge that I was a Hebrew. And I already had the knowledge that we were supposed to be turning back to the law. And at that point, I was already in my mind. I hadn't physically left, or at least it wasn't known, but mentally, I had already walked away from Christianity. I knew my days were numbered because there was no way that I could stay as a Christian, because just when you're doing something different, and I have to speak honestly, even when you're doing something different that's outside of the box or outside of the norm within the spectrum of Christianity that they like to place creative artists in, if you step outside that box, if the minute you deviate from that, then you are shunned, you are ridiculed, and in some cases, depending on your stature and your level, you're a blackball. Christianity wants you, the system wants you to be within this box, and within that confines, you are not allowed to deviate out of this. You are supposed to say this, you're supposed to talk about this, and you were supposed to hear this, and you're supposed to make us feel like this. And so when I talk about things like police brutality, which were poems that I had previously written prior to me even exiting, those type of poems didn't get a lot of attention. They didn't get a lot of positive feedback. Some people liked them, but the broad spectrum, it didn't generate the type of excitement or feelings or motivation that it would if I was speaking on some form of Christian theology. So I knew that my my status or my position was numbered. I mean, in the midst of all of this, me and my wife had opened a business called Creative Genes, which is still around now, which is a photography and event planning company. So we had Creative Genes, we had a brand Utterance, we had a smaller brand Infusion, and we had these other doors and opportunities that were open and available to us that we were actually going full head of steam at. That when we came into this knowledge, we knew that there was going to be a sacrifice. That we can either continue into the direction we were going with this knowledge and try to continue to mingle and mix and do whatever we could as far as the opportunities go, or we're going to have to walk away and potentially lose all of it, because 9 times out of 10 people are not going to book me. People are not going to want to associate with us on that level, because that's just, it's unfortunate, but that is the nature of Christianity. And that's what happened. When we walked away, all of those opportunities went away. All of those doors slammed in our face. I mean, people just stopped connecting with us. Like, people who we thought that were actually close. I don't like to throw around the term friend. Like, I don't have a lot of friends. I have some people that I think are cool people. I got some, like, yo, that's my dude right there. But the term friend, I don't have a lot of friends. You know, I really have to have a special connection with you, or I've had to need you, and you were there for me to actually see you as a friend. I mean, it's not just, hey, we cool, and that's my friend. It doesn't work like that for me. So I would say people that we were closely connected to, who at least we were beyond the surface. I mean, they had my phone numbers, they had my wife's phone number. I thought we was on a different level. They even stopped reaching out. Even to this day, a lot of them I haven't even heard from. Except my former pastor, me and him are still in communication. Like, that's a friend. I call him a friend. He knows a lot about me. I know a lot about him. That's my friend. But outside of that, a lot of the people who I was closely connected to, I haven't heard anything. And you don't know what was going on with me. I mean, especially how my posts changed on Facebook, and I went from posting all these things about Jesus to something completely different, seemingly, and you know, no one called to check up and see where my headspace was at, what was going on with me. But yet what happened was that rumors began to float around and that I became a Muslim. Me and my wife became Muslims. And this was way before we started wearing kufis and hair wraps. So how we essentially became Muslims in the eyes of former associates is beyond me, because on a Facebook page, all you would see would be things about, we need to go back to the law. We are the people of the book. Return to our heritage. It was the law, scriptures, history, scriptures. So how you can formulate in your mind the assumption that we converted to Islam is beyond me. I don't really understand it. But the problem is, when you don't reach out and all you do is assume, then that's what happens. You begin to sound foolish, and you're spreading false testimony, because nowhere ever did I consider Islam. Nowhere in any facet of my life am I a Muslim. I went back to our heritage, which us being the people of the book. Nevertheless, these are the things that were going on. And with the exception of my former pastor and a few months down the line, I'll say a total of 2 people. And when I say a few months, I mean like a large gap. I'm just, for brevity, saying a few months. But people still to this day haven't reached out, and I still haven't heard from people. So, you know, people deleted me. I went to ask someone a question, and so I was going to like post a status on the wall, ask them something, and they were gone. And it was actually for me to patron their business, and they had deleted me. So not only that, you lost the business and you deleted me for what? You never even reached out to find out what was going on. But this is what we projected, was that we were going to lose business, which we did. Utterance, as of now, we just decided to just do away with Utterance, because just the brand itself is associated with Christianity, and being that we're on a different route, we have to do away with that. But so yes, business took a hit. Everything around us, relationships took a hit. So it just became me, my wife, and our children. And so for a minute, I was not doing anything. I wasn't writing. I wasn't performing. As a matter of fact, I needed to figure out where to go with my gift, because everything that I was doing, it encompassed Christianity. The poetry was centered, even though I had different pieces outside of it that would target a different audience. The main focus was me being in churches speaking to Christians about things that Christians understood. Once again, the love of Christ, the cross, and all this type of stuff. So there was a time frame where I had to figure out what was going on. So I was off the grid, so to speak, for a while. And after a while, it was impressed upon my spirit to speak to the Most High's people. And that also means speak to my people. Those who don't know who they are. The so-called African American here in this country. And so now my poetry has taken a route to being more Afrocentric, because it's geared to a specific audience. And that's working out so much better than I ever could have imagined. I mean, me being away from poetry for a while, it was very uncomfortable, because that's what I really felt my purpose in operating was me getting up there and me exalting God at the time, but now who I know as the Most High. But now, my mind state is completely different, and I have such a passion for our people now that when I go out here, now so many doors have opened since then. I went from business being completely devastated by the exit of Christianity to now I'm on tour. Something that I could have never had imagined at that point when I was in Christianity. So now I'm on tour. So shout out to my brothers Morris and Joshua with Rebirth of a Nation, Hebrew Nation Building. Those brothers have graciously allowed me to come on a tour with them. So instead of going from venue to venue within Metro Atlanta, I'm now going from state to state, waking up our people to who they are, and letting them know that they're the people of the book, and getting them to at least shift their minds from the Willie Lynch syndrome, the Stockholm syndrome, this reliance on a system that don't care about us. So shout out to them brothers. Check them out on Hebrew Nation Building. They have a lot of documentaries, some of the best documentaries on the web about who we are, our journey from Northeast Africa, i.e. The Middle East, down to West Africa, and then from there being scattered amongst the four corners of the earth like we are here in America and other countries as of today. They have some of the best documentaries flat out. So once again, that's Hebrew Nation Building on YouTube. And then I picked up a sponsor. So shout out to my sponsor, Ramifications Ward Clothing. I mean, this is some really, really thick material. This is that cheap stuff. A lot of people like to get into the t-shirt businesses, and they just they grab something, they iron some stuff on, and they sell it. No, this is stitched on, it's sewn on, it's quality material. It doesn't shrink when you wash it, and most importantly, the message that's on these shirts are probably more important than the shirts themselves. So it's definitely a business that I enjoy being connected to, and that I would love to see people patron because they have a message behind the work. So that's John Williams with RainbowWardClothing.com. Make sure you check it out. I will leave a link in the description about this company. But then I have people sewing into my life because they see that I have a poetry book that I was trying to get out, and so many things. And I don't want to just talk about the good things, but because there are so many good things that have happened since the time where I was in the wilderness, where I was trying to figure out who I am and what to do next. So many great things have happened that I have to exalt the Most High. So I give all praises where they're due. And so shout out to the Most High Yah for everything that He's done since my exit from Christianity, because every door closed and now He's opened up a completely different type of door, and so many more doors at that is blowing my mind. And I can barely understand or fathom why this is happening like this. Like it's just absolutely amazing. But yeah, so shout out to the Most High Yah. I all praises to Him. And shout out to everybody else that I've been connected to. I've actually connected with some really solid people, generating some really good friendships. I mean, people who I trust, people who I've spent a lot of time with getting to know their character, seeing where their mind is at, seeing how they live, and they're really about that life. If you know what I'm talking about. And no, I'm not. I'm talking about the culture. We Hebrews exited a religion to come into our culture, and these people that I'm connecting with are about that life. They're about that culture. So, they've helped me understand the culture more, and we've been able to feed off each other and learn and grow so much so that I'm beyond blessed at this point in time right now. And so, I just want to encourage those who are questioning where they are in Christianity to research the doctrines. Research what this movement is about. Don't just listen to those who have something negative to say about it. There's always two sides of a story. And if you listen to one side of the story only, you're misinformed. So, once again, research what the movement is about. Research what people are actually talking about. What's the totality? What is really involved in reclaiming your identity as a Hebrew or as an Israelite? I just want to say, shout out to everyone that I've been connected with. Shout out to all the Hebrews who embrace their identity, who embrace the culture, who know who they are. Shout out to you guys. Y'all are the real MVPs. Shout out to the Most High Yah. Make sure you check me and my wife out, Creative Jeans, photography and event planning. She's dope on the event planning. So make sure you check us out. Raymond Word Clothing, Rebirth of a Nation, Hebrew Nation Building on YouTube. All the Hebrews out there who know who you are, Shema, Yisrael, Yahuwah, Eloheinu, Yahuwah, Echad. Peace and shalom.